You must be in the garage, huh? Or
Say it again?
are you in your outdoor office?
Yep.
Yeah, with a heater, huh?
Say it again?
With a heater, huh?
Yeah. Hold on, I can turn it off though. It's not that
I mean,
it's not
I have a
that,
heater on too, so Auphonic will work its magic. I'm not too worried about it. I don't know if you hear the heater on it on my end.
need to bring you up a little bit. There we go.
I'm actually using the right microphone this week.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, yeah.
I need another USB-C cable. Hey
yeah,
Siri,
you and I both.
turn off office heater.
Whoa, holy fish, that worked well.
Yeah, man.
What do you-
Sometimes Siri.
What are you using?
Sometimes Siri works. It's just it's a Meross smart power strip is what it's plugged into, and it's one of those heaters with the actual knobs that you got to turn it on, turn it off. So
Yeah, yeah. That is not the heater I have, and I'm too lazy to wheel over across to turn it off, but I might turn it off here in a couple minutes. Do you hear it?
faintly, yes. Okay. See, mine's also on the desk. It's like a little tabletop.
See, mine's behind me.
Yeah, so like it's blowing like literally right in my face. So it's kind of a problem. I may end up having to move it somewhere else in here to blow at me.
Yeah.
But I just bought it today. I picked it up in Aldi for $15.
Okay. I'm going to have to get one of those Meross power strips. You've talked about them quite a bit over the lifetime of technically working, and they seem to be reliable. Do they have any USB-C ports on them?
They do not, at least the one I have, and I haven't looked recently to see if they have released an updated version that has USB-C ports. That's about the only negative for me. Well, there's two things I wish that would be changed. I wanted there were USB-C ports instead of USB-A, and that the USB ports, there's 4 A ports on here. I wish that they were individually addressable. But they're all grouped as one thing. So if you turn off USB, you're turning off all USB devices. That's about the only thing I wish that were different. But the 4 outlets that are on here are all individually addressable. So turning off the fan doesn't turn off the power to the MacBook Air, for example. It just turns off the heater.
Okay. So you have your heater plugged into the AC outlet on the power strip, and that's individually addressed, but you can only turn off all or on all of the USB ports at once.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, what would be nice is if they did USB-C ports, and if they up the power delivery, which I think because it's USB-A is one of the reasons it's not, like, hey, I can plug in my MacBook and it'll actually charge over those ports. So that's probably my wish for an upgrade in the future, but I haven't looked recently to see if they have done that or not.
So, how's it going? I think I sent you a calendar invite. Does Fantastical not? I thought I remember Fantastical when you invite someone to an event, which is really nice because it pops up a little pop-up when you type in someone's name, and then you use your arrow keys to find the email address. And oh my word, I need to know where it gets some of your email addresses from. Just saying. Because, man, I got some email addresses like Blind Employment Solution still pops up, or some consulting businesses that I've never heard of. Hell, Fedora Outlier still shows up for you.
Man, you really need to clean out your contacts.
Is that all from the contacts, or is that from stored data from Fantastical?
No, I think that is all from contacts.
Okay.
Now, it probably looks at that, and if you're doing what I'm doing, because I get a lot of that from different people, including you. One, there are email addresses that I put in over the years I've known you that you don't use, so really there's no point in me having that email address.
Yeah.
Your iCloud.com email address, for example. Like, there's really not any point in me holding on to that email address because I don't use it. I've never used it. I think I used it at some point when you were on Android and I needed to FaceTime you on the Mac or something is what it was there for.
Yeah, possibly. My actual iCloud.com email address, that's my spam email. If you need an email address, you're going to get my iCloud email.
I should start doing that with mine because I don't even think it's turned on the computer because there's nothing in it. It's
turned on because I get
mine's not turned on.
Yeah, mine is, but I check it maybe once every month or so.
But I think, and then I'm also syncing like Google contacts or whatever. So where I think Fantastical pulls from is the contacts database, that whatever contacts are available on your machine, because when you first set it up, it asks for contacts permission. But if you're using Google, remember there's always that other contacts section of people that you have recently emailed, things like that show up. And I don't know this for certain, but it may also pull from the Mac's recently emailed email addresses as well, from the Mac of like people who recently emailed you, or addresses that you've emailed in the past. There's a way to look at those, and I don't remember if it shows up in the contacts app directly, but there's a way to see like the recently contacted list, and that pulls up random stuff too, because sometimes you start typing. For example, I do not have some companies, I don't have most companies, like support email addresses saved as contacts, right? Because it's usually I reached out once for a thing or something like that. But if I start typing support into the email field in mail, it comes up with things like, Code Factor is one. There's one for Meross. There's one for a company I just emailed to return this lock to, UTech. Like all of that crap comes up, right? But they're not saved in contacts. So I think it also pulls from there possibly as well. But you should just look at my contact card and see what kind of junk you got in there that you don't need, man.
Yeah, I know.
That is the thing that should be, I really should manage it better. Like what I really need to do. Here's what I should do is sit down and kind of systematically, can't do it all in one day, but just systematically go through my contacts and first delete stuff that I don't need anymore. And then start cleaning up those contacts that I have, because people have gotten different jobs, or I don't ever email them there, and different stuff like that. What I'm probably going to do for the short term is nothing. Absolutely nothing about it.
Copy that.
Long term, I'm going to get irritated about it, and I'm probably going to go in and be like, okay, I'm going to export this group of contacts, and then everybody else I'm just going to delete. So at some point in the future, for anybody listening, if you have my number or my email address, and you text me or call me and I'm like, who is this? Or I don't answer, it's not because I don't like you. It's just you didn't make that very short list of people's number I can't remember that I have to remember. So that's what happened.
I am guilty of, so I have a contact. It's a mutual contact of ours. She lives in Portland, so I recognize her number. I've talked to her for, probably 5 years now or something like that. I have never saved her to my phone, but I know her number. Like I know, I couldn't tell you what her number is, but when you
see it, you recognize it. Yeah. I have something like that too that I've never saved, but like I know their number when I see it. And it's like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so's number. But because I'm so bad about remembering people's numbers now, like that is the one downside. For years, I wanted the ability to manage my contacts in my phone. And all the years with the little feature phones, that never was a thing. And because I was a Verizon customer most of those years, or a Nextel customer most of those years in the early 2000s, there was no talks or mobile speak available to me. Until I got my first Windows mobile phone through Verizon, and then I could put mobile speak on it. And ever since then, it's been downhill when it comes to contact. It's like, I just saved the number in the phone and now I can see what it is. And I don't know your number. I just click on your name. And then when people change numbers and I just add their number, that's the thing that creates problems for me. I just add their number to the contact instead of deleting the other one too. And then it like calls so-and-so, and it calls somebody else, like it calls their number, but it's the wrong number that they're using now. So either it says it's disconnected or you get somebody else. And you're like, Mike?
Oops.
And I was like, nope, this is not Mike. And I was like, are you sure?
I told Siri yesterday, call Nicholas, and it called my friend Nick, who is in my phone. I thought was in my phone as Nick, but apparently I added him as Nicholas too. And so it's important to add people's last names too. And you're right. Cleaning up your contacts is probably something we all should tend to do at least once every once in a while. I think I guarantee I actually have a name in my contacts that every time I go past her name, I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, oh, that was the girl my friend added to my phone when we were on the train 12 years ago, and he wanted her number.
Yeah. So I have contacts like that too. It's like I'll say, how Siri does. Call so-and-so, and like it gets the name wrong. It's like calling, I don't know, Tijuana. And I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, I don't even know who that is. I should really delete that contact because I have no idea who this person is or why they're in my phone at all. But then it didn't happen because really I'm just trying to call Tia, and it's like, let me just dismiss that whole situation right there and then call Tia. Like, so I don't know. Like, it's madness.
So are you on 15 on macOS?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you updated to 15.2?
That just came out like a couple of days ago, right?
I think so.
Hold on. I'll tell you what I'm on because I actually don't know. Like, I was, unless they updated at the same time they updated 18.2. Let's see. Nope, I am on 15.1.1.
Okay,
so
can you go to your dock and press escape and tell me if that works?
Go to my dock?
Yep, VOD.
Okay, so I'm on the dock.
And then press escape. Yep, and did it take you back into where you were?
Yeah.
Okay, that does not work in 15.2. So
hold on. I didn't know that was a thing. Wait a minute. That's
really?
New. Yeah. Huh. Okay. That's
it's broken in 15.2. So if you go to your dock and then you tap escape, it does nothing. You have to command tab out of your dock in order to get it to go away, which has pros and cons, but I will tell you, have you tried to access the notification in macOS?
Well, hold on though, because if you command tab, it does not put you back. Your command tab takes you to the previous app that was before. It doesn't take you back to where you came from when you jump to the dock.
Correct, which is what I want to happen is if you go to the dock and then you tap escape, it should take you back to the previous app you were in, unless...
It should take you back to the frontmost window is what you're trying to indicate. Like right now, Zoom is the app that has focus for me. If I hit VOD to go to dock, if I tap escape, it puts me back in the Zoom app. But if I go to the dock from Zoom now and I hit command tab, it's going to take me to mail.
Right. And so for me, I have Reaper open. If I do VOD, it tells me what app is there. It actually doesn't tell me what app I land on. It just says dock. But if I tap escape, it does nothing. So I command tab and it says Finder. And then I command tab again and I'm in Reaper. Yeah, if I hit VOD, it just says dock, actions available. And then after right arrow, left arrow. Does yours tell you what app you're on too when you go VOD?
Yeah, it says Finder. Open.
Okay.
One of some number.
I'm going to take that complaint, though, and have you spent any time in macOS Notification Center since 15?
No, but it's because I haven't liked it since 14, to be honest. What I have noticed is, wait, what? What about some? Oh, well, look, I had an invitation to a meeting that you guys have already attended and handled and taken care of. It told me about.
Oh, that meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I have noticed this issue with 15 is oftentimes, so the way that I get to notifications, I hit VO. Oh, hold on. I got to actually do it because I don't remember. I have to do it. Yeah. VOO. You're right. Yeah. For some reason, I thought there was a shift in there, but I
nope, that's for Control Center.
I have to do it. So that's how I get there. Now, mostly what it does is what it just did, which is drop me into widgets. If I VO left arrow, then it gets me to the 9 more notifications or whatever, right? Now, VO left arrow, it'll bring me back to some more stuff. Like now I see here's the summary.
And then if you VO left arrow again, does it do something wonky and not take you to the previous notification and jump you back over to your widgets or something?
It will eventually. It seems to be dependent on what the notifications are because now I see that you liked my message when I said a few more minutes. I see stack notifications for home, and then it jumps me back over to the widgets, and I have to start over. So to answer your question, I know what you're probably having complaints about with Notification Center, but because of notification being weird and goofy on the Mac, I just avoid it mostly.
Not anymore. It's like it was back in 14 and 15.2. So I can navigate to the beginning of my notifications with VO home. That takes me to the very first notification. Then I tap VO right arrow.
This is difficult.
And then
do I update
I eventually get to the
feature?
clear all notifications.
Oh, see, I don't have that button it all.
And I can clear banners or clear all notifications. Now I just cleared all my notifications. My focus is put directly in the notifications. But the reason I bring this up is on Unmute's Digital Byte for yesterday, which is actually tomorrow, which is Sunday.
So what I would have done is just left it where you left it, because when people hear this, it will be
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes. Unless you're a tip jar subscriber, and it could be today. Maybe.
Ah, geez. So say Sundays.
So on Sunday's Digital Byte for December 15th, I explain a little bit about the iPhone. Hold on. I had to look up the name every time. iPhone mirroring option, and playing with that. I've been playing with that a bit. And what made me really look into this, into my notifications, is because I have it set up so all of my iPhone notifications that I have also go to the Mac, which some people might find annoying, but I don't have a problem with it. And what's really cool, now that I can actually use my notification center like a normal person, is I can press VO space on an iPhone notification, and then I'm interacting with that iPhone application from my Mac. And that, I think, is pretty amazing how smooth that works. So if I get a notification from DoorDash, for example, and I press VO space on that, I'm in the DoorDash application on Mac OS, able to navigate it with my voiceover commands. So play with notifications because they're fixed in 15.2.
So now I have a conundrum, because I just discovered this dock feature. So do I give that up by going to 15.2 and get notifications actually working, or do I just stay and wait until they drop 15.2.1 and fix that dock thing if they ever do?
Fix that dock thing.
I'll probably just update, because I don't really use my dock all that often, to be honest.
I don't either, actually. I use LaunchBar. I almost said Spotlight, but I don't use Spotlight either. LaunchBar quite regularly, and it is an amazing utility. Although, so loopback starts with LO, right? So does log out. So there for a while, I'd hit command space L, hold O, and all of a sudden it says log out. And I'm like tapping cancel real quick because I don't want to run the log out action. So I fixed that with abbreviation. But at first, that was what it was doing to me forever.
So what I have done is I will go through, and it does take time. And it's funny because I'll take time to go do this, but I won't go fix my contacts. But I will go through a lot of the built-in actions, and I will uncheck the ones that I know I'm never going to use, because that way they don't pop up and get in my way.
Oh, okay. Have you installed third-party actions?
There are some there now, like that transmit thing is basically, well, it's a third-party app action. I have had third-party actions, because it's not what you mean. That's a third-party app. You're asking about actions, like somebody puts up their actions on GitHub, or you find it in the forum on, what is the company's name that makes
Develop 6? That's not right. I always Google Loopback.
Develop AT, yeah, whatever. Whoever makes LaunchBar, they also make Little Snitch.
Yeah.
Is it Objective Development?
Yes.
Here's the company
Objective
name,
Development is who makes it.
It's not their website, but yeah. Like, I have installed those before. I may have a couple installed now, but I don't really remember, because for the most part, well, actually, no, I'll tell you, I don't have any installed right now, because up until January of this year, when I wiped the MacBook Air stupidly before I went to Gentry, very, very dumb thing to do. I had been migrating my LaunchBar actions and history and all of that by grabbing the folder out of my home library application support directory. So what that would do, other than me having to, I would always have to relicense it, but other than that, like, it would keep my history so I could see how much time I had saved and all of that. And
That's how you keep that information?
Yeah.
Okay. Every time I reset my information with how much time LaunchBar has saved me whenever I reset a computer. I'm an abbreviator. And I've only saved 1 hour and 59 minutes, which I know is a lie over the time that I've used LaunchBar, but that's since I got this Mac, how much?
That's over the time you've been using that MacBook Pro specifically. Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Because I don't think I've reset it yet.
Yeah. At some point I had saved like months, at the time, but that's because I had been moving that folder for forever. And I didn't do it this time simply because I said I'm going to start completely clean, which means I also didn't use my brew file to reinstall anything. I manually went through and installed stuff as necessary, which is probably one of the reasons I just installed Reaper like 2 weeks ago, because I didn't need it until I wanted to do a thing. And I was like, oh, I need Reaper for that. I also had forgotten that I had purchased Reaper 7. So, yeah. So I got my garage door put up.
Oh, good.
I don't know if I even mentioned on the show that I actually paid for the garage door.
Did.
Put down the down payment. Okay. That might have been a bonus.
It might have been.
I don't remember. Anyway, I did pay for the garage door because ultimately it solved the problem. So that got put up Thursday. It came out and finished up on Friday, which I was just basically putting up like the weather stripping around the outside of the door so there's no gaps and all of that. And putting up the keypad for keyless entry. So yeah, so you can open it and stuff from the outside.
Okay.
Mike sounds confused by this.
Well,
why do you sound confused?
So keypad, don't you have a remote control that you can just carry with you and you hit one button and it slides your garage door up and hit another and it goes down?
No.
Okay.
I don't have one of those. I have a keypad mounted on the inside of the frame that I can press a button and it'll close. Now, I probably could have gotten one of these from them, but I didn't ask about any of that because I'm going to get a smart garage door opener at some point.
Those aren't as expensive as I initially figured they would be.
Yeah, I'm going to say same because I just did a little basic looking today. And I was like $39.
Yeah, I was like,
really?
The one I found was like $60 or whatever. And I'm like, integrates with HomeKit? Okay, that looks interesting. I forget which one it was, but yeah, they're a lot cheaper than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I expected it to be a whole lot more expensive. I was like, yeah, I saw a Meross one that was discounted by like $10 on Amazon. I was like, but then I read somebody's review, which was just one person's review, to be fair. But they were like, works great. It did take us several hours to get it installed. And I was like, not sure if I wanted to be that complicated. Yeah. I also really don't have any idea how they work. So I'm in the very early stages of even looking at smart garage door openers. But it occurred to me that Tia had an idea to put the Aqara doorbell that I bought because I never put it up because I decided I was going to go with Real Link for my security cameras. And I would get the Real Link doorbell to go on the front door. But she was like, well, we could put the Aqara doorbell up on the garage. So if somebody actually comes to that door, they can at least ring a doorbell. Like, well, that kind of makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's a reason to get a smart garage door opener. I guess that bumps that up the list a little bit because I'm not necessarily going to want to get up and go open the door and then push the button on the side of the door to open the door, open the garage door. So, but also I can check to make sure, like, when I'm not here, that I get a notification that, hey, your garage door's been open for 30 minutes. And it's like,
right.
Hey, it should not be open at all. So what the hell is going on? But I haven't done any research whatsoever. It looks like I'm probably going to have to take down the keypad that they put up and put the thing up there, but I really have no idea. Like, I honestly don't know how garage doors open. Work. Like, I don't know how they work at all. So
it just works.
If anybody wants to share what they know, feel free to hit us up, feedback@technicallyworking.show, and we'll tell you all the social media stuff at the end, because I don't want to have to spell it more than once. But yeah, so that is up. Nice door, nicely sealed. Job is done pretty well. I actually wasn't here while it was done. My mother was here, but I wasn't here. I went to go operate, do a facility on Friday. So I was out of town Thursday, actually, when they came to put up the door. But, yeah, it works well. And I think the nice thing about it is, because there's always that, at least for me, there's kind of like this back of the mind niggling, like, what if you pay the money for this garage door? They come and put it up and it works fine, but then you're like, it really doesn't solve my problem. Yeah.
Does it solve the problem that you're looking for it to solve?
But it actually does. So, like, I can absolutely see that. Now I just gotta, clean up the garage and get stuff situated. But I can actually do that now. So It's work, but it'll be work done. And the nice thing about it is if I do decide to in the future, try to put some insulation up out here so it actually is a little bit more temperate or climate controllable, I can just snap in some insulation into the back of the garage door like it's already. That's what it's built for. So if I bought it from them, that's basically what they'd have bought, like some foam stuff that you just snap into each little slat. To give me some insulation in the door itself. So looks like it'll work. Got a heater to go in the office. Now I just need a heater to go out there. So again, feedback at technically working side. So got any idea of a decent heater that will at least keep me from freezing or keep people from freezing if we're out here working in the garage during the winter. Like, I don't expect you to get it up to nice balmy temperatures and you take your jacket off and, you're walking around in a tank top and flip flops and nothing like that. But, just to keep it from freezing would be nice. I did buy one from Sam's. It's not going to work. So it's going back, pretty soon. But yeah, that's where we are with that. Other than the smart garage door opener thing I need to figure out.
So, what else is new?
Well, one, I'm back in my office because I got a heater, so that's great.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm using the right microphone the whole show instead of halfway through.
Which is also good.
Yes.
I had a question for you about your audio setup with something, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, yeah, I do. So last week we talked about your setup for the video that you did. So because we talked about specifically how you use them, I'm not clear on that, those DJI, what are they, lapel mics?
Yep, they're DJI Lavalier mics. Actually, I forget the exact name of them, but yeah, that's ultimately what they are. It has a body pack. It sends wireless signal to a receiver. The body packs have microphones on them themselves, or you can plug in, I believe it's a 3.5 millimeter jack lapel microphone into the transmitter, and
the body pack. Okay.
It sends, the body pack, and it transmits that to the receiver.
Gotcha. Now with the receiver, I know was it the receiver that had recording capability on it, or was it the actual body packs?
The body pack.
Okay. Now with the receiver, how can that be connected? Like
USB-C or Lightning.
Okay.
So it has a little slide on thing that slides onto the USB-C and converts it into a Lightning adapter, or natively it uses USB-C.
Gotcha. So there's not a way to use that to plug into your mixer.
There is, because it does also have I believe it's a 3.5 mil jack line out on the receiver that will send the signal from, I haven't done this, but it'll send the signal from the receiver to the mixer. And I believe, so all of this goes into a self-contained case, and I believe that that receiver does get charged up, so you don't even need to power it to send that signal out of the receiver into the mixer.
Okay. You have to do some testing. What brought that up for me though, is somewhere about halfway through this week, I was like, oh, me and Mike were talking about him using those to route audio and, be able to put a mic on people at conventions and things. And I was like, but wait, how's he going to get it into the mixer to actually be able to send it somewhere? Maybe I should ask, because I don't think either I missed the explanation or we didn't really get into that part of it. I was like, I don't think I know how that's supposed to work. So I should ask Mike, because he should know how it works. And if it doesn't, we need to figure it out.
Yeah, that's the way it should work. We will see if that's the way it does work, because I'll need to play with that a little bit and find out. Because, it'd be good to know that now versus when you go trying to do something.
Yeah. Or, the other thing you could do is,
loopback would work, because it would show up as a audio device in loopback, so you could route the audio through there. But I'd rather not have to do that.
Hold on. So does it? Well, I guess you have to check. But would it work if you plugged it into the Mac, like
Yeah.
as an audio device? Okay.
I mean, I anticipate it would. It works when you plug it directly into the iPhone. So it should. Now I'm starting to second guess myself, but it should.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah. We'll play with
so
it.
more to come.
Yeah, maybe I'll do my Kelly & Co. video with the lapel microphone this week and see how that works. So I'll play with that and report back.
Oh, but that'll make
certain people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely would. And Mallory got me a replacement pair of those in-ear monitors that you recommended, because I am hard on headphones. Just saying, I am hard on headphones.
Man,
anyways,
I have got to buy some more. So I need to buy another pair of those, but I want to, and I'm probably going to buy a pair if I can find the link in the show notes for Daily Tech News from Friday. So Friday's episode, because they had Patrick Norton on and he was talking about speakers and different stuff. But he mentioned some in-ear monitors that were very good, very highly rated, and had something to do with the what is that? The Harman curve and yada, yada, yada. But they were like $20. And I was like, I should probably get some of those, because I have no idea where the ones are that I recommended to you. I know exactly where my West One clear in-ear monitors are that I paid $400 for. They're in my briefcase, in their case, because I keep up with those a whole lot better than I do a lot of stuff, because they're $400. But yeah, I was like, that might be a good alternative. So I'm probably going to buy a pair of those if I can find the link. Because one, they're cheaper. And mostly I always want a backup pair of headphones, which right now I'm using my AKGs because they're just comfortable and they're actually decent headphones.
Yeah.
The West One in-ear monitors are in the bag to be used with the H4 if I'm traveling for some reason, or I have to do an ad hoc setup like I did last week. I can everything I need is right there in that bag. So that's where those are. And the ones that I recommended that you buy after hearing about them on, what is that show? Office Hours. I don't know where those are. They were supposed to be in the van, because I wanted them in the van so I could use them to work the ATMs when I've had to go use the ATM on occasion. Because that's the way of it. You show up at the ATM because all of a sudden you need to get some cash and you need it right now, and the bank is closed, of course. And then you get there and you don't have any headphones. So I was like, I'll just leave these in the van because I need to buy another pair anyway, just for backup. And of course I hadn't done that yet, but procrastination has worked, because I have heard about a pair that may be just as good as those that are about half the price of what they were. So,
right. It's interesting. I wonder if those are the same ones Mallory sent me the other day. And she's like, would these ones work? I'm like, they look like they'd work. I don't see why they wouldn't. So yeah.
I mean, really, here's the thing with in-ear monitors, right? Like, for the most part, the reason I bought the high-end West ones is because they have like 5 drivers in them or whatever. And for them to be earbuds, when I was editing audio with them, I could hear the response. Like the response for me, the way the audio sounded was more true to form. Now, obviously, putting on the AKGs gives me a better sound, because you're dealing with a bigger driver, a bigger speaker, sending audio. For something like, just dropping in a Zoom meeting to do a video, I mean, any kind of earbuds would actually work.
Yeah.
I just try to go for monitors because it's going to give me a flat signal. Nobody's screwed with the output of them, so it sounds real bassy or whatever. And then I'm telling Mike, like, dude, like, turn your volume down or something, because you're coming in with that proximity effect. Or back off the microphone, Mike. He's like, normal distance. Well, you're sounding real bassy like you're doing this right here. So that's why I tend to lean toward those. But for people listening, you don't have to go out and spend. First off, you really don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money on in-ear monitors unless you're doing a lot of editing, or you're dealing with a lot of music. I feel like you kind of know if you need them,
right,
or if you don't. So if you don't feel like you need them, then you don't. Buying a pair of relatively inexpensive monitors means that they should be flat. It's sort of the reason people buy the difference in just regular desktop speakers versus desktop monitors, the signal that you get back is going to be flat. So there's no artificial or built into the speaker's EQ curve that's screwing with the way stuff sounds to you. But for doing a show, really, you just need some earbuds. Like, I mean, there are people that do twit with AirPods. Like, they don't use the AirPods for their microphone. They're using AirPods for their earbuds. Well, see, I probably don't listen to those shows.
Well, wasn't it one of the Android shows? Maybe they're not on Twitter anymore.
Well, see, I have no idea what they were doing. I don't know what they were doing. Like, the Android show was
they were probably using the Pixel Buds.
I have no idea what they were doing. But there are people that use their AirPods for their earbuds. For monitoring. The show, which I absolutely would not do, because the delay in monitoring would kill me, and I'm used to hearing myself. Like, I hear myself right now. So if I do like this right here, I know that I'm not on the microphone. And what I said was, I know I'm not on the microphone. I shouldn't have did that, because Auphonic is going to try to yank that up.
It'll work. Auphonic is pretty damn amazing. Like, go listen to last week's episode if you want to hear what Auphonic can do, because I guarantee it did not sound as you can hear some artifact. Well, let me phrase that. I can hear some artifacts in last week's audio with my voice, but Auphonic did a great job at bringing my voice closer and giving it more of an intimate feel, kind of like what you get with the what board am I using? The Mackie. I almost said soundtrack. Kind of like you get when you get my voice through the Shure Beta 87A into the Mackie into the Vocaster. It wasn't the same, and you can definitely tell when I switched microphones. But yeah, Auphonic did beautiful things to that audio.
And just for you, listener, we know that you listen to the show. He's really telling me to go listen to last week's show. Because we're certain you listen to every episode, and we truly appreciate it. Thank you very much. But yeah, Auphonic is amazing. I have oftentimes, and it's probably why I have mentioned it to you off and on, and not gone and done the research myself to see what's going on and what kind of deals we have with RX, because I'm like, I don't know if Mike really needs RX or not. I don't, because I'm not doing any audio editing at the moment. That'll change sometime in 2025 for sure. But right now, I personally don't need it. I did use the crap out of RX when I was doing a lot of our show editing and other editing for the previous show, because I haven't edited a single episode of Technically Working. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. But it's why I haven't went to go research, what kind of discounts or deals. Because the nice thing about RX or Isotope's RX suite of plugins is, if you own a previous version, especially within the past couple of years version, when they have a sale on RX, you still, in most cases, at least every time I bought it may not work every single time, but it's worked every time I've upgraded. I will wait until they have like a stupid blowout sale. It's like, oh, this is 50% off right now. Then I'm like, I have an upgrade license. And they're like, oh, well, you just got 75% off. It's like, all right. Yeah. Which is why for a while, me and Mike had RX Advanced that it normally costs about $1,100.
Right. I don't really miss it that much. I think every once in a while when I'm editing some audio, like yesterday I was editing some audio and I don't know what was going on with their mic, but man, some of that noise that was coming through with their mic, it was like static, was what you were getting kind of. And I'm like, man, RX could clean this up. Auphonic did an okay job with it. It wasn't perfect, but I was thinking, I wonder how well RX would do with this. And I did not play with it at all in there. But also, when I used RX in the past, it would, and I should reinstall it just to try it out on this new Mac, but it would take my rendering at 27, 30x real time down to rendering at 1 or 2x real time. So it was a time thing too. I bet this Mac would handle it better now.
There is a time thing, and I think RX And you know, from my usage of it, I noted that too. Like, it used to make my Intel Mac just cry. Like,
those fans would be going crazy.
It would just, like, if I rendered a project with RX, actually on the Intel Mac, if I applied an effect with RX on a track and Reaper, like, I'm not doing that now. I started rendering. Oh, I'm not doing anything else with that computer for right now. So start the render process and walk away and go do something else. You know, take out the trash, make some coffee, maybe cut half of the yard or something.
Read a book.
You know, catch up on some podcasts.
Yeah.
Or set up the grill so you can start smoking a brisket or something like that. But it is very resource intensive. I feel like so I don't listen to, and Mike has encouraged me to, so it's not that Mike doesn't tell me about stuff that he's created. I just need to go add feeds, and I need to clean up my podcast stuff. Anyway, that not aside, I feel like for our show and for a lot of the content that Michael is directly involved in producing, and in the past content that I've been directly involved in the recording of and the production of said audio content, the input that we started with was usually very good.
Yeah.
And Mike can probably tell you stories, because from my perspective, I don't think I've been much of a jerk about people's audio quality when we've had to do a project together, but Mike can tell you different.
No, you've been pretty good. Others have been worse about other people's audio. I'm just like, all right, let's just work with it because got to get on with your day.
Yeah. If it's a one-time thing, I'm definitely more accommodating, but if we're sitting down and we're going to be working together on a show long-term or some kind of content long-term, you're going to do something about your audio. Because one, I don't want to hear that crap for the next 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is. And two, I'm not putting that out with my voice in there sounding like this and then you sound like that. Like, I can't handle it. But the point being, oftentimes the audio processing, the audio that's going in is pretty decent audio to begin with. So Auphonic is great at doing the basic things, which is leveling out the audio. Makes that super easy. Doing some noise reduction where necessary without overkill, because it is rather time consuming to tweak that in Reaper. And RX is kind of overkill for a lot of that. Like, you know, the noise isn't that bad. Like, you could actually do it in Reaper with the built-in tools in most cases. It's just that it's very time consuming, and Auphonic can get it done. Now, if you are doing a show where you're creating content where I think RX would come in really good is oftentimes when people are doing productions where there's either several people, some of which have decent microphones and some of which are using their laptop microphones, and some who have their iPhone set up as a camera and they're using that microphone. It's probably good to clean some of that up. Usually it's the shows where you can tell when a specific person is about to talk, because either they unmute or somebody has a noise gate on them, and when they start talking, the gate has to open up in order for you to hear them, and then you also hear or whatever noise you're hearing in the background of them. That's when RX is pretty good. But I think for a lot of what Mike does is Auphonic is more than good enough, if not in some cases it's probably honestly overkill for our show most of the time. It's just quicker to let Auphonic do all the leveling instead of. I didn't do much normalizing in Reaper. Well, yes, I did. I have done normalizing in Reaper when I used to edit audio. Back in my day when I edited audio, you did it all right inside of the DAW is what you did.
You just did it in Reaper.
None of these fancy services that normalized your audio for you and did all of this stuff. I did at one time think like, I wonder if I could push this audio track to Auphonic over the API. Send it back. I wonder what the status of Auphonic's desktop app is.
I
wonder if he still even works on it.
I don't know.
But the only reason I didn't buy it, because there was a glitch in it when I tried it out where you needed sighted assistance to get past the opening splash screen.
Yep.
But after that, it was pretty accessible. And then I discovered there were some features that were on the web that were not in the desktop app and were not ever going to come to the desktop app because of processors and all of that, because he did it in the cloud. And I was like, oh, well, screw that. I will keep buying it. But what else has been going on with you, man? There is something I want to get to here in a sec. I need to save this Zoom link somewhere is what I need to do.
We've been threatening a good episode for people, and I think we will have a really good episode for people in the very near future. I'm excited to hear what that turns out to be. So I'm excited to see where that will go and what that episode turns into. And hopefully we'll be able to get that recorded and published for Tip Jar subscribers. Speaking of Tip Jar subscribers, really want to thank all of our Tip Jar subscribers like we always do. You are amazing and well appreciated. One of you went out and listened to DM87. No, they didn't. They listened to TW87. And they listened to that today as we record this, which is Saturday. So just so you know, you do get your content early. You don't have to wait an extra week to listen to it. But yeah, appreciate that. And nothing really else is, I mean, I guess Nicholas will be here tomorrow, so that's big.
Oh, cool. So we got to do some talking because that's going to affect your schedule a bit.
A little bit.
I would imagine.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, and at some point in the not too distant future, I will be on a 16 Pro Max probably.
I'm going to get me an audio interface because that right there, I don't know if I cut it off in time, but I was about to sneeze. And yeah, it would have been nice just to have a mute button. Just
to have a mute button so you can just button. Oh, you didn't hear that. Stab the button.
Yeah. I guess I could buy one of those hardware mute buttons.
No.
Put it in between the microphone.
You might as well just spend like $20 extra and get a Vocaster or something.
Yeah.
And don't you have an audio interface? Can you not mute yourself on the H6?
So I'm actually using the H4 because
I
don't know where the H6 is. Actually, I do know where it is. It's just in the case. And I feel like taking it out and doing all that. And I'm also trying to make sure I'm super comfortable with the H4 because I think the H4 is going to, unless I know specifically, so here's my setup. No, you cannot mute yourself to answer your question though. You can't mute yourself on any of the Zoom recorders. Well, you can in a way. If you're not recording on set, crap, I didn't do a backup recording.
We are relying on you, Zoom, because I didn't backup record either. We are getting lazy in our old age.
Yes, we are. So I can kind of mute myself on the Zoom H4 or H6 if I'm not recording on that device at the same time. By
unarming that track. Yep, he went away. He'll be back in a second.
However, that is a very long way to mute. And also when it talks to tell me that input 1 is disarmed or whatever, or off or whatever it says. Whenever the Zoom recorder's talking, that's one of the downsides. Whenever they're speaking, it cuts the audio that gets routed into it. So I can't hear you if I'm doing stuff with the Zoom interface.
Irritating.
Yeah, it's not a good deal. Like it should.
Hey, Zoom, I'd love it if you could either duck the audio or just let me pick what ear do I want your audio prompts to be in and let me hear all the other audio. Like,
that would be nice.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Either one of those options would be great, for sure. But my setup is going to be, at least for the short term, because at some point I will get an interface and all of that stuff again. Not an interface, a mixer. Gotta get another mixer, man.
Just pull the sound out.
Man. So here's the thing. Number one, I'm kind of sort of gonna tell a lie and say I don't know where it is. I kind of vaguely know where it is, but it's not exactly where I left it.
Right.
But also, man, screw that board. The only reason I won't ship that to you to try to sell it for me is because it costs too much. But nah, I am.
Hey, you accepted my calendar invite, so you did get it.
Yeah, I had to open Fantastic. So apparently I did get a notification, but it was on the Mac. I did not get a notification on iOS, which is a ongoing problem that I'm not seeing notifications from certain apps on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
You and 3/4 of the other iOS users.
Fantastical is one of those. Reminders, because I've been trying to use reminders for certain stuff because it's simpler to say, remind me to do X, Y, Z or blah, blah, or remind me about this page or whatever, than it is to try to say, add to Todoist.
Remind me about this email.
Yeah. So, but those reminders, like the notifications don't happen, which is slightly irritating because how am I going to remember to do the thing if you don't pop up a notification? I have to remember to look at my reminders in order to see what I was supposed to do. That's not how it's supposed to work. It definitely don't help me because I look at it a week after the fact, like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to have done that thing. Or I'm reminded about it when somebody else goes and does the thing that I was supposed to do. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that. Crap. I'm like, I thought I made a reminder. And then I open reminders and, oh, there it is. It is also past due. Oh, well, it's helpful.
Are you not using Todoist? Because I am not.
So I have not been using Todoist recently. It's still on my phone and I have plans for Todoist. I just have not sat down and done some of them, partially because I'm a little torn. Like, the benefit to me for Todoist is this. It has an API, and therefore I can connect it through several means to different services and have things happen and have to-dos show up automatically, etc. The downsides to Todoist is I feel like they're straying off into an area that I don't like. I don't like their Kanban board view.
Right. Yep.
I don't like that it synced across shared projects. So if, you change to Kanban view, it changes it for me. Now I can change back to list view, but then it changes it back for you.
It for me. Yeah.
So then we get into this whole, well, geez, I know who was last looking at the project because it's still a different view. So there's that aspect. The natural language input for it is still good. I still feel like there are times where the accessibility or usability of the app goes up and down. So that's problematic.
Yeah.
Reminders actually is really nice now. Like, I see a lot of features that they've added and worked on. I haven't delved too deeply into it, but there's a lot of good stuff there. The problem is, it's not super easy to get stuff into reminders unless you're on an Apple device. And granted, I'm mostly on an Apple device, but I don't use reminders on the Mac at all. Like, I've never cared for the interface.
Yep.
There's not a way for me to email a task into reminders.
Right. You could try this iPhone screen mirroring option on the Mac and see if you like that interface any better.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten that to work reliably for me. Yeah.
Works just fine for me. If my phone is locked, your phone has to be locked.
Yeah, I mean, I can get it connected. It just seems like it. I don't know, man. It's weird. Maybe I need to spend a little bit more time.
It is a little wonky. I kind of explained that in Digital Bytes. I'm like, yeah, the best way to explain this is it's nice when it works, but it can be a little weird to navigate. And like, keystrokes don't work the way they should because I don't even know what voiceover you're using. Well, I do. You're using macOS voiceover to interact with your phone and not your iPhone voiceover. So the iPhone voiceover keystrokes don't work like you might anticipate that they would. And that gets frustrating.
Yeah. That's a good feature. I think it still needs, polish. And it may be that way for for non-voiceover users as well, as much as I know. I just don't use it all that much. Usually, I'm also a very old computer user. So, there are things I know people will do on their phones and do successfully and very well on their phone. And I'm like, I'll wait till I get to the Mac to do that thing. Like, I rarely send emails unless it's like, I gotta reply to this person's email because it has something to do with, like I was, heading down to, location to the prison the other day. I guess I could say the prison. I tell people what prison it is. I don't think. Anyway, I was going to the prison the other day. So I had to reply to her email then because, my contact there was like, I was like, look, we're going to be a little late because we had to go, my driver had to go deal with the situation with a sick kid at the school. So we had to get them situated. So her response, I sent that email from the laptop because I was still home. And I saw her reply as we were on the road. And I was like, we should be there by this time. But I had to reply to that. Now, I dictated that response as well. So, just to be fair about it. But there's things like that. Todoist, though, going back to your original question, like I kind of want to use Todoist, but I also feel like I'm at an optimal space to perhaps go take a look at OmniFocus again.
That's interesting. I want to hear that adventure. Curious how that pans out for sure.
Yeah. I haven't looked at their web interface recently, so I don't know if they've added like an actual API or if it's still the same old way it worked. But there are, there's their Omni automation stuff, and with some help from ChatGPT or Claude, I might be able to write some actions that will duplicate some of the functionality that I like about Todoist, but get back to things that I've been missing for the past, I don't know, 10-ish years, almost 10 years, which is defer dates.
So have you seen the new feature Todoist added? Like last month, I think.
No.
So
the last thing I remember seeing they added was some kind of calendar view thing.
So I'm going to try to find it while we're talking, because I think it works like what we've wanted for defer dates.
Oh, well, let me go and take a look. Let's see. No, okay.
Add deadlines to your tasks. And so it's not quite deferments, but we have an exciting update for you. You can add deadlines. This is for paid customers only. You can add deadlines for tasks, giving you the flexibility to schedule your work while keeping an eye on things that are actually due. Add deadlines to your tasks. Deadlines make it easier to keep track of commitments and plan on what you should focus on when. Here's Rain from the Deadline Squad to show you how it works. And so they've changed the due date field to date. For most people, this represents the date you plan to do a task. This name better reflects that. And then you can set a deadline. So I think using their dates and deadlines will give you. I was
about to say, what did they? Because what it sounded like at first that's why I didn't say anything. I was like, let me, because initially I was like, all you've done is just add a different due date, because what is the due date supposed to be other than the date that the task is supposed to be done on? Like, I need to run payroll. That has to be done by Monday. That's the due date. But what this sounds like is, okay, I have to run payroll, and, probably in another couple of weeks, I won't have to run payroll until Wednesday.
Right.
So I could say
set Monday,
the date to be Monday.
And then the deadline to be Wednesday.
But the deadline to be Wednesday. So I actually get a notification on Wednesday that says, hey, you really got to do this today.
And you should be able to set up some filters to be able to show you
only
different
things
tasks.
that have, like don't show me anything with a date of before this date or something like that. I will play with that. I will actually set up a task and set the date for it to be whatever. And
I just forwarded you that email so you can look at the actual text of the message and play with that, because that might be cheaper than OmniFocus, because OmniFocus isn't cheap, I don't think.
It's not. I actually don't know what their pricing is right now. But
I was just going to say, I don't remember what it is, actually. So.
Let me see. OmniGroup OmniFocus. Focus. Oh, well, I didn't type something right because I got DuckDuckGo. People, do you ever sometimes feel insulted by people's like marketing or like tagline stuff? So let me give you an example. Right here, right? Like I'm not really offended by this, but it's like that kind of thing. So OmniFocus, task management software built for pros, OmniFocus, right? So what are you saying? If I'm not using this, I'm not a pro? Is this what you mean? Or I can't use this if I'm not a pro? So if I'm not a pro person, I just want to, organize my life. Like I shouldn't use your software? Is this what you mean?
Yeah, you're overthinking it.
I am absolutely overthinking it, right? Like I know I am, which is, why I'm not really actually bothered by it. But it's like sometimes I feel like people's marketing is like, wait a minute now, what do you say?
It's $10 a month.
Yeah, I don't want to pay $10 a month.
Right?
What's $120 a year?
Or $74.99 for V4 standard license.
I think it's $99 a year if you pay for the annual subscription.
I don't remember
So
the pricing of Todoist, but I think it's like half
it's
that.
like $36 a year.
Yeah.
Or at least
And then
that's
they
what
have
it was the last
V4
time I
Pro.
So now I should have upgrade pricing because I paid for V3.
Yep. It does have upgrade pricing, requires registering previously registered versions to your Omni account.
Wait, I'm confused. What was this? Hold on. Now I gotta dig into this. V4 standard license. Oh, okay. There's a V4 standard and V4 Pro. So I'm confused. What's the difference in the two? Or 149. Save up to 50% with upgrade. So I could get a discount for the upgrade. I do have to say, when it comes to how they have handled their price, it's always been expensive. I remember when you used to have to pay like $49 for the iPhone app, and then another, amount of money, or $29 for iPhone, I think, and then like $49 for the Mac app, right? It was completely separate purchases. I will say that their subscription model, if you're a OmniFocus user, or if you want to dip a toe in and like you just want to play with it for a while, $10 a month is not a bad amount to spend to get all of the apps across all the platforms. Their upgrade pricing has always been fairly decent because I did go from 2 to 3. I did not pay from 3 to 4 because one, it took them forever to get 4 out the door. I'm curious to look at it. I think maybe jumping back over there is not going to be a thing for me, but I might take a look at it at some point when I got a little time, just to see what the interface looks like because I am curious.
Tom Decker did a great demonstration of 3, and that's what made me really want to look into a task management app. And then I went and looked at the pricing. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know about that. But yeah.
Now, but their actual pricing structure, the way they've done it, I think makes sense. Not everybody has done this, and not everybody has transitioned from one-time purchases with upgrade pricing over to subscriptions as. I think theirs has been kind of reasonable. You still can buy the one-off license if that's what you want to do. But the subscription, guarantees you updates. And as long as you're paying for the subscription, you don't have to worry about upgrade pricing. So it's decent. And they have not actually increased those prices for subscriptions, at least since they went to the subscription model.
OmniFocus has automation tasks built in, like tools built into it to automate a lot of it. And that's what.
Yeah, and they've actually extended that a lot. That's one thing I'm because basically now their automations inside of OmniFocus are based off JavaScript. So, a little bit of ChatGPT assistance there, and I might be able to, do something instead of pecking around the internet looking for stuff. However, it may or may not work out. I just like to defer dates.
I like you, ChatGPT. I gave it money again. I tried to go without it, and then it told me its memory was full. And then it started acting stupid, like it didn't know me. I'm like, that's how you get me to pay you, huh? Okay. Although I will say, before I paid it, I'm like, Mallory, or no, I didn't even say Mallory. I said, my wife just sent me this email. Can you help me craft a response to it? Mainly just to be a smartass, honestly. And so it said, perfect. Here's a response to your email. Hi, Mallory. And then it started telling me things, and it said, love, Michael. And I'm like, first of all, I've never, ever in my entire life signed an email with love, Michael. That's just not how I work. But secondly, how the hell do you know my wife's name? And then I realized it was probably one of the memories that I told it. But yeah, that was a weird experience. Just saying. Like, I knew that I gave it the detail, that I gave it her name in the past, but at first I'm like, that's weird.
So speaking of ChatGPT and other language models, did you see the news about Android XR?
No. Did you see the news about Google Studio? AIstudio.google.com. That's a trip.
Nope, I hadn't heard about that. XR is, at the moment, anyway, because I don't know what the studio thing is about, is a lot more interesting because it is their new operating system built with Gemini built in for VR and AR devices.
Man, I really need to get DTNS back in my podcast feed. I'm guessing that's where you heard about it at?
That is actually, yeah, so I did hear about it there first, but also heard about it. They talked about it a little bit on All About, no, it's not All About Google. That's not the name of that.
Twig.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you get all of the Gemini assistants in XR and AR, or in VR and AR, I guess. How does that
basically,
work?
it's a new operating system where they have Gemini embedded in the OS, like it's a part of the OS, like natively built in for Gemini to work. But the operating system, much like Android Automotive is for vehicles, XR is for AR and VR devices. So they have some test equipment, which, I'm still over here like, hey, new Google Glass, come on, man. Let's make this happen. But apparently there's going to be hardware released next year with the Samsung something headset.
Yeah, Samsung's competitor to the Meta Ray-Bans.
And then Sony apparently is working on something that's going to have XR built in. So essentially what they've done is like they've basically taken Android, modified it slightly and designed it just for, VR and AR headsets. This is my take on it. It's not what somebody else has said. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's kind of what I feel like this is. It's like, oh, we've taken this and we've embedded Gemini. At some point, it'll be open up enough for people to probably, add in other, systems, but they've embedded, Gemini into it with the intent of this, like Android is designed for phones and sometimes tablets if you really stretch. But we're going to say phones. Android Automotive is for vehicles.
Android Wear is for watches.
Yeah. And XR is for wearables, for headsets. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So I'm super interested. Are you still a patron of DTNS?
No, but I was thinking about resubscribing today, actually. I think that was on my mind.
So, will you get this? You should be able to get this in.
Yeah, you get old content when you subscribe.
Well, no, it's not that. I was trying to. So they did one of their experiment things Thursday, and they did the news separate from GDI. So the part that you really want to listen to is the which you
GDI.
should be able to get. No, you don't. The GDI conversation really isn't all that important.
Gotcha.
It's the news part. And what that was is kind of just Tom, and he had Jason Howell on, and they just kind of did like the news topics and went through it. But then they did a deep dive into Jason's time that he had at the Google campus with some hardware using Google XR. It was interesting.
That sounds pretty cool, and I'm intrigued by that. Meta's kind of doing something, but I don't know. Tell you what, I'll go listen to the DTNS show, and we'll give you some thoughts on that if I remember about it, because I'm intrigued. So aistudio.google.com. First of all, I blame JJ 100% for sucking me down this rabbit hole. And you know how he can be with his AI sometimes. What you can do, and I did this from Safari, didn't have to install anything, just had to give it permissions when it prompted, but you can send it live video feed. And you can say, what's this? What's that? And show it that, and it answers you right away. You also get the ability to interrupt it like you can with the ChatGPT models, the advanced voice mode, and it grabs that images from your camera. But what I found to be even more intriguing is you can share your screen with it and say, hey, explain to me what this is. And hey, what's that on my screen? And ask it random questions. Within about 10 minutes or so, my comment was, damn it, I wish you could control my screen. And it said, unfortunately, I can't control your screen for you right now. But it is literally...
If you get a Chromebook, I can maybe do that for you.
But it was literally like having Ira sitting there explaining to me, what does this picture look like? What does this website look like? Because it views your screen. So you can pull up a website and say, hey, what images are missing on this website? And it started explaining all of that to me. And then I could interrupt and say, no, I don't really care about the shocks. I'm more curious about, is there an image of the shards on this page? And it'll look for that and tell me yes or no. It's remarkable.
Can you see where my mouse pointer is? Right, am I on the button I need to click? Okay, I'm clicking the button. All right.
What is this unlabeled button that my mouse pointer is on that I've routed with my voiceover routing cursors?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently GPT has their video plus model available for paid subscribers. I'm not sure if it's in the app or on the mobile, but it is in the app for some users on Mac OS. And that might be a solution for you when you're working with products, because you don't have to take a picture anymore. It's interpreting a live video feed. Do you remember that Be My Eyes demo done back in May? I think we're just about there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2025 is going to be a fun year, man. Fun year.
Makes me, I'm a little itchy. I keep forgetting that I actually put down money for these Echo frames.
Yeah, and you haven't heard anything from them, have you?
I mean, possibly not. I don't know.
They might have reached out to you and like, hey, if you pay us, we'll send you these frames.
Yeah, I should actually go check my email, but I don't think I've seen anything. But I am still listen to Thursday's Daily Tech News.
Yeah, I will.
What would be the main thing? I would encourage anybody interested in like Meta glasses, if whether you use the Ray-Bans or not, or you use other smart glasses. But if you're interested in the technology at all, go check out that episode. When they get to Jason's usage of it, and mind you, this is just his perspective as a sighted person, but I was like, man, this could be amazing. And still Google, like, where is my glass man? Because now we're at a point where it's like, I would pay for it. And I've been saying this all year. Like, I feel like I should get some bonus points because I've been saying this all year. If Google comes out with glass, like, I feel like now we're getting to where glass actually makes sense, not just for me as a blind user trying to get visual interpretation, but I want Google to make this because it's going to be open, which means there'll be the opportunity and the ability to put Ira or Be My Eyes or whatever on the glasses as well. In addition to Google, honestly, in my opinion, still being the best positioned to make something that can be truly great. Like, Meta's done great with the frames. Don't get me wrong. The Ray-Bans are, the best in class that I have seen or had an opportunity to check out.
But man, they've been pushed hard. They're not designed for that at all.
They're not designed for what they're doing. And honestly, Meta's not the company to make it. It'll take them a very long time to get there. It's not going to take Google that long because this is what Google does. I mean, you go back and look at who has made the kind of best in class apps. I mean, for years, and I still say this now, I still wish Google would put Lookout on the iPhone. Google Lens is a thing that people use all the time. Like, one of the guys the guy that was in class with me for BEP, this dude was so fast with Google Lens. Like, we would look at something, I'm like, I wonder how much that costs. And by the time you get that out of your mouth, he's taking a picture with Google Lens, has found the product, and like, oh, that chair is $1,999. It's like, okay, we ain't buying that chair. It ain't that comfortable.
Right?
Actually, it's a little low to the ground for me, to be honest, now that I think about it. So they're best positioned to do this. They already have the operating system. And it sounds like what they did with XR is basically modify, Android, like taking the Android project and modify that to be this software to run on headsets. So, just do the glasses, man. Maybe they don't want to do the glasses, which is fine. Okay, whatever. But somebody make some cool looking glasses. Like, the Meta frames are not quite my cup of tea when it comes to style, but
So fun times.
Fun times.
Probably wrap her up.
Interesting.
And we'll see what's coming down the road, because I'm excited about technology. That's really interesting. I'm excited about technology again. And it's been a little while since I've been able to say that, because I feel like technology for about 10 years got stagnant, and it was all the same thing, just repackaged into different packages.
Yeah, like there would be something occasionally that would get some buzz, and then it would just kind of either not pan out, or, you would ultimately end up being disappointed by it. And I've heard a couple of people say, I'm trying to remember who said this exactly. So Steve Gibson, I think, said this on Security Now. And I think he's right. He probably isn't the first person to say it, or not the first person to phrase it in a similar way, but it's the most recent person I've heard say this. And for this guy to be as old and curmudgeonly as he is, I mean, we're talking about a guy who is getting close to 70 if he's not there, that writes in assembly code. Like, he couldn't, he's using GPT to help him write code or come up with solutions for code stuff. Partially is kind of testing, but also is like, oh, this is kind of amazing. And we're talking about a guy that was around when they were using punch cards. Like he's been through that whole era. He worked at, he was a student and an intern back at the old, I'm not going to remember the right name of it now, Palo Alto Labs back in the days. Like we're talking early Sun and all of that stuff, like 70s computers, way back, prior to the internet existing. Being involved in technology and writing code back then. So not just somebody interested in technology, but actually writing code that has been used places. And, for him to say he feels like that he's like, one, I don't really understand what we've built. And it's the first time I've not understood what has been built. I don't think anybody really understands what we've built with AI, but this is probably going to be the most game changing, and I'm paraphrasing some, but this is probably going to be the most game-changing thing to happen in technology ever, hands down. And for him to have, lived through and been active participating in, the first time they networked computers back in the 70s. And, I wrote a message over here and it showed up in Massachusetts. And I was like, oh, wow. To seeing the rise of the web, me and you have kind of lived through, we lived through the .com, explosion and bust and all that. So we've seen a lot of this too, but we're talking way back before any of that even existed. I could sit here in 96, 97 and was like, the internet is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And I was right. Like, I didn't know how huge, and it didn't pan out for me the way I wanted it to, because I was like, oh, all this information will be accessible, except it wasn't quite as much because Flash.
Oh, children who have never experienced Flash, you have no idea.
Look, it's one of the few times Steve Jobs was outraged by a thing that he deservedly needed to be outraged about. I will not put Flash on the iPhone because it is a terrible technology, and I appreciate. If I don't appreciate the guy for nothing else, I appreciate him for that, because if they had to put Flash on the iPhone, we still wouldn't be rid of it.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Steve Jobs. Speaking of which, that took me somewhere else. So, interesting times. We'll be around to talk about them. I do want to send I don't know who to really send our condolences to. Essentially, here's what's happened. I want to just take a moment and say rest in peace to a great Mac guy, like a great person in general, but somebody that was instrumental in me getting involved in the Mac and teaching the Mac and teaching voiceover on iOS, and just learning how to teach better. But genuinely a good dude. John Panarese recently passed, so I would just like to extend our heartfelt appreciation for John as an individual, John as a teacher, because he taught me a lot, and not just about the Mac. Like I said, he taught me a lot about teaching.
A lot too. Like
yeah. So rest in peace, John Panarese.
I shared that on Mastodon, and more people than I even knew were impacted by John's teachings. I'm like, oh wait, you use the Mac? Because they're like, if it wasn't for John, I wouldn't have even tried the Mac. And
John has taught and done and did a lot of interesting things. Unfortunately, it's not my place to mention any of that.
Yeah.
But John has done a lot. John knew people. Like, John did a lot, and John knew people. And John was smart. One thing I will mention that John did that I felt was very smart. He never went inside Apple to work for them. He contracted with them, but he never went into Apple to work for them.
Yeah.
It's a very smart move. It's a very smart move. But genuinely good dude all around. So just wanted to say I appreciated John as a person, not just as a, Mac, the owner and operator of Mac for the Blind, but just as an individual, good friend, good guy to talk to. So he will be missed.
Yes.
And with that, we will wrap up the show. I actually had planned on opening the show with that. And that's I forgot. By the time, I thought about this 2 days ago when you told me about his actual passing. Yeah. I was like, oh, we should open the show with a, slight tribute to John or whatever. And then, but it happens. Anyhow, I want to thank our listeners, everybody that subscribes to the show. And by subscribe, I mean follow or whatever goofy crap Apple has got everybody saying, man, how do you follow a show? Anyway, you can't follow the show because we don't have a Mastodon account. I'll fix that. Should be to follow the show, for real, not just and we're going to do Mastodon. We ain't doing Threads and Blue Sky and all of that. But anyhow, thanks to everybody who listens to the show every week. We truly appreciate you. Thanks to our tip jar supporters. Because as I always say, you can do anything you want to with your money. The fact that you choose to give some of it to us to support our show is extremely important. I don't even think I can really communicate how much of a deal that makes to us. You can follow him as a person at Payon, Payown, at dragonscave.space. That's DRAGONSCAVE.space on Mastodon. I am Damashe, Damashe, at unmute.community. And you can also interact with the show and other listeners and followers and participants on Mastodon by using the hashtag technically working. And we appreciate you capitalizing the T and technically and the W and working so it reads out right. You don't want it to sound funny.
You try using that hashtag on other social medias. Can't guarantee we'll see it, but if you try it, we might search for it too.
Well, I can guarantee you I ain't going to see it because I'm not even on Blue Sky.
You're not even on Mastodon, really, are you?
I mean, no, but it's because I want to go fix that, domain there.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually, so I'm not going to promise to do it by next week, but I'll do it before the end of the year for sure.
There you go.
Because I want to make an account for the show as well. So that makes sense to put it on that domain. But no, I see Mastodon post. You were having a conversation with somebody about helping me with this
Keyboard Maestro
thing. Yeah, man. Like I see stuff. I'm just not actively posting.
Okay.
But
I didn't even know if you had Mona on your phone. So.
Oh no, man. I got Mona on the phone and on the computer, man.
Gotcha.
Like, listen, I've always have been, other than times where I really put in a whole lot of effort, usually because somebody said you need to do this because it's going to help grow the business or whatever, be super active on social media. I've never been, that type of person anyway. So there's that, but I'm around. And if you mention me, I will eventually see it. And usually I will respond unless I just don't have anything to say because there's not anything to say. Or Mike has already said it sometimes. So don't think I don't see what you say. It's just sometimes there's not really a response required. Like I don't, in real life and conversations, I don't feel the need to just fill empty space with words just to, have sound happening. And on social media, I don't always feel the need to, post something just so people know that I'm here.
Right.
But usually I will, favorite or favorite or whatever. I don't remember the right terminology. Your post if I see something that people do. So, there you go. Thanks to everybody for listening. This has been Technically Working, episode 89.